The Dallas Mavericks are easily the dumbest organization I've ever seen in my entire life. As all of you may know, Luka Doncic was traded from the Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers the other day for Anthony Davis and a 2029 first round pick from the Lakers. I literally have. I was going to say I have no words, but I have a lot of words. I'm not a Mavericks fan. Um, Never claimed to be, never, was never like a bandwagon for that team or anything like that. But I obviously am a gigantic basketball fan. I love and appreciate Luca's game a lot because I think truly he is the best basketball player in the world right now. And the Mavericks should feel lucky to have even had him. They might say, "Oh, we appreciate you, blah blah blah, whatever, all that bullshit." I mean, you traded away a 25-year-old Luka Doncic because he gained weight, a lot of weight, granted. He gained 40 pounds. He was at 270 pounds. Is at 270 pounds right now. But I fully see that changing. I don't think that he's going to stay at that weight. I think, especially with all the rumors coming out that they were concerned about his weight and everything like that, he's going to give a big FU to the Mavericks organization and just lose the weight, get back in better shape, and just continue being him. Because that's the thing. His play has not slowed down at all. Again, this guy is 25 years old. Not even technically in his prime, right? Because your prime as an athlete, or at least in basketball sense, is I believe it's 28 or 27 to like 32 or something, and he's not there yet. This guy, this is how absurd this trade is. This guy is a five-time All-Star, been in the league for 7 years, five-time first All-NBA. He's a perennial MVP candidate. He was the Western Conference MVP, Finals MVP last year. And yeah, I mean, let alone the fact that he brought the Mavericks to the finals, right? Again, this guy is the best player in basketball, in my opinion. You can make a very solid argument that Jokic could be the best player in the NBA, and I would not dispute that at all. I think it's either him or Luka, right? How often does your favorite team get a superstar like that? Not very often. It does not happen. For the Bulls, it's been a long time. It's been since 2008 when you got Derrick Rose. Granted, we all know how that ended up. But when you get a guy like Luka, you gotta thank God that you were able to draft him or trade for him, right? You see how good he is. He has almost, I mean, as far as I know, no scandals off the court. The only thing that I've heard is that they want to win now. And again, they have the issues surrounding the concerns surrounding his weight, which I think is the most BS answer I've ever heard when it comes to trading a player. Okay, look, Anthony Davis is good. Obviously, he's one of the best big men in the league. But he's 31 years old, has insane injury history. And by the time he retires in probably 5 years or so, who knows, Luka's still only going to be 30. All right? You just gave away a guy who's going to be, if he retired today, he would be a Hall of Famer. 100%. He's the most talented player in the game, probably the smartest, and easily this most skilled, right? Again, you can make the argument that Jokic is all of those things, but I wholeheartedly believe that Luka is just that incredible, right? I don't blame the Mavericks fans for reacting the way that they did because I clearly am very upset with Dallas as well. I don't understand what their thought process was. They said they wanted to win now. What are you talking about? He just brought you to the finals, what, 8 months ago? 9 months ago? Something like that? What more could you ask from him? Okay, yeah, he didn't win the finals, but he had to go up against the Boston Celtics, one of the most dominant teams in the NBA, with one other star. That's it. I mean, the Boston is one of the most well-rounded teams I've seen in a long time. And Dallas just wasn't that. Maybe they needed another year, but the fact that they made it to the finals alone was awesome. I mean, it just shows how great of a player Luka is, and now you're just giving him away because he gained weight. It's stupid. It's so ridiculous. This guy is not even technically in his prime. 5-time first All-NBA, 5-time All-Star, perennial MVP candidate. I've said all of it already, but I feel like I have to say it again because the Dallas Mavericks front office is that stupid to where you have to repeat it again and again for them. I feel like everybody in that front office should be fired because this is the dumbest trade I have ever seen in my life. I can't even... I'm so flustered and angry at the idea that anybody would trade a player like that if they were fortunate enough to get him. I'm a Bulls fan. Do you know how long I've been waiting for another megastar like that? I mean, since we got rid of Derrick Rose. But still, you get the point. It hasn't been incredibly long, but there are teams that haven't had a guy of that level. And you have him and you traded him for a guy that's older and more injury prone. What? Oh, but they got the 2029 first round pick. Big whoop. They're going to have Luka by that point still. And he's still going to be insane. Again, he's going to be 30 years old at that point. That is not old. Anthony Davis is a year older than what Luka would be 5 years from now. By the time that pick it goes to the Mavericks. So it's not like they're going to be a bottom-feeding team unless something catastrophic happens, like if Luka demands a trade a few years from now or whatever, right? Or for some reason they're just completely horrible. But I don't see that happening because look what Luka was doing on the Mavericks. It makes no sense to me. You literally hit the jackpot with trading for him in that draft. And you just get rid of him in his prime. He's still, I mean, I feel stupid saying he's still elite because of course he is. He's only 25. What are you thinking? I need a full fucking 500-page essay telling me in insane detail what your thought process was. And if you say it's only because he gained weight and you want to win now, I'm going to slap you across the face. I am so sorry. It's just ridiculously stupid to me. Again, not a Mavericks fan. Clearly. I mean, you see my setup. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I feel like we're all being pranked. You're talking about the best player in basketball. You have him. Keep him. You traded for Kyrie for him. You got PJ Washington. You've got Derek Lively. You've got a good team. A really good team. One of the best in the Western Conference, as a matter of fact. A team that just made it to the finals. Because of Luka. Because of him. And you don't even want to try to get him to lose weight or work on that, whatever, right? Maybe they have, and they probably have, if I'm being honest. It just makes sense. But still, right? I'm not saying that that's not an issue, because clearly, you got to be in shape to continue to play at that level. And from a organizational standpoint, you want your star player to remain healthy, especially if you're going to shell out hundreds of millions of dollars to him. But to just trade him? This guy is averaging like 28, fucking 8 and 7 or something like that. Incredible numbers. He's going to be an MVP candidate again this year. Will he win it? Probably not. Who knows? He should be in contention for it, though. And I feel like he's bound to at least win a couple MVPs before his career is over. And a couple championships or more than that now that he's at an organization that clearly values superstars. And the worst part about all of this is that Dallas came up and approached the Lakers with this trade. The Lakers didn't even talk to them about it. The Mavericks are the ones that called them. And we're like, hey, you want Luka? All we want is AD and a first-round pick. Click. Of course you're going to do it. Of course. Anybody would do that in a heartbeat. But I'm not really saying anything that everybody hasn't said already. I just wanted to make a video talking about it. And real quick, if you guys don't already know, the Bulls traded away Zach LaVine. Now, Zach's been with the team, I believe this was his 8th year. And yeah, obviously I'm going to miss him. I thought he was a lot of fun to watch. He was one of my favorite players in the league. Still is. But they traded him to the Kings. If you didn't see, it was involving the 3-team trade with the Kings, Spurs, and obviously the Bulls, where the Spurs ended up getting De'Aaron Fox. The Kings got Zach LaVine and 3 future first-round picks. The Bulls ended up getting the short end of the deal, obviously, in Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, and Trey Jones. And along with that, full ownership of their first-round pick in this year's draft. Now, I didn't think this was a good trade for the Bulls in terms of like the best overall return you should have gotten, right? For a guy who is a 2-time All-Star playing, honestly, this is probably the best year he's played with the Bulls, shooting 45% from 3, always been an incredibly efficient scorer. Should they have gotten picks for him? Absolutely. It's insane to me that the front office cannot get first-round picks for star players. It doesn't make any sense. How do you keep fumbling in that aspect, right? But they're not done. I don't think they're done making moves before the trade deadline. But still, how are you this bad at your job? Again, I have to say, like, this was an extremely necessary move. Zach's contract was absurd. But, it's over and done with. They picked a lane. And I feel like they're not done. I think they're going to trade Vooch. They're more than likely going to trade P. Will if anybody wants him. But overall, I'm okay with it. I don't think there was going to be anything better that we could get. Now, again, there's a huge difference between what we should get and what we could get, right? This was probably the best case scenario at this point because for some reason Zach's trade value was insanely low despite him still playing at an all-star level. Now, obviously, most of that is due to his contract, but still, I just from what we were hearing around the league, it just didn't seem like anybody was going to give a massive return for Zach LaVine. I don't get why. I understand the contract, but to not want to give up a first-round pick is absolutely insane. Unless AK and Mark Eversley were just like, yeah, we don't want one. What? Like, you're telling me you can't get a first-round pick for Zach LaVine? And this goes back to the Alex Caruso trade for Josh Giddey. Just straight up a Caruso for Giddey swap. it's even worse now because Zach LaVine is an all-star. So how are you going to tell me you didn't get a first round pick for him? It doesn't make any sense. Not to fully complain because again, I am at this point as a Bulls fan, you got to be grateful that they're picking a lane, right? Um, and honestly, look, the Kings are in a good position because they got the draft capital and all that. However, um, that doesn't mean that the picks are going to turn into anything fruitful for them. Their big three is extremely similar to the Bulls' big three for the last few years, right? You got DeMar, you got Zach, and you got Sabonis. They're really all three of them are really good players, but they're not going to bring you a championship. You're going to be mediocre. Look, Zach's finally on a 500 team, but look, they're literally 500. That's it. They're not gonna win a championship with that trio. I'm sorry, Kings fans. It's just it's how do you see what the Bulls have done in the last 3 to 4 years with Zach and DeMar and think, yep, I want that. Just because you got a player who's better than our center right now, like, look, again, Sabonis is much better than Vooch, but Vooch is still really good, and we weren't able to do anything with that team. So what makes you think that you will, especially in the Western Conference? I don't get it, but I am gonna miss Zach LaVine, and again, I can't emphasize enough how excited I am that we did pick a lane. And I just wanted to make this quick video, guys. I kind of just had to go on an unedited rant for Luka, for the Mavericks. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.